everybody. It is day 3 of our cruise. We've had another fun day today. Today we got up and we went and did another island. We woke up in the port of Nassau in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
But before we did that, we got up, we had to eat. So we went downstairs. We went to something different. Where'd we go?
We did Johnny Rockets. So I've been on this cruise ship a few times with the offerings of breakfast at Johnny Rockets. I've never been lucky getting to sit there or have breakfast. It's a very popular place. So we ensured that we would try it out today. And it didn't disappoint. It's complimentary for breakfast. And we both decided to have belt sandwiches, which is like bacon, egg, lettuce, tomato, cheese on toast. And the nice thing about Johnny Rockets is you can put whatever you want on the side. So you can add potatoes, you can add more bacon, extra eggs, sausage. They really customize it to whatever you want there. And it was good.
One of us doesn't like tomato sandwiches, so one of us had a BET sandwich.
One of us being Jason.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah, the food was good. I don't eat a lot of egg on sandwiches, but it was delicious. It was. I had sausages on my side. Yeah, it was good. It was on Johnny Rockets is located on deck 6.
You got it.
In the boardwalk area.
Yes.
Just past, just past the carousel, but kind of towards the end where the, I'm drawing a blank on the name, the water event.
Aqua Theater.
Aqua Theater is located just right there on the very end.
Yeah.
Across from the tequila bar and some other cool things, right?
Yeah. So that was breakfast. Yeah. We got off the boat just shortly after that. And Nassau was hot today, guys. It was no joke. When that sun was out, it was intense.
Brutal.
So we kind of made a little pact to each other that we just go and do a little shopping in the couple of streets in and around the port. And if we couldn't take the heat, it was better for us to get back on the boat. So
that's a big port. I mean, it it's going to take, 4 or 5 ships at a time if you had to? I mean...
it can. I think it can even take, I think up to 5. Today they had 4 in.
Disney Wish was across the way today, and we had parked behind Harmony of the Seas. So it was cool to see both those ships. We parked on, I guess, the far side of the port, so you had a good little walk before you got through, the actual building structures of the port, where you would say, enter and leave. But yeah, we walked out, we got onto the main street, and then you're just walking through, really the town and a lot of the marketplaces, a lot of the storefronts.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really busy few streets in and around the port area. It's a combination of little eateries, restaurants, bars, shops. There's the famous straw market along the main path. There's a variety of things to look at. I mean, the one thing I would say about Nassau is you always hear people say something like, is it safe? Is it not safe? I don't know if I want to get off the boat. I would say I've been into Nassau many times and I've never felt unsafe. I don't know if I'd go off the beaten path by any means, but I think if you're with a group or even just a couple of people together and you stay on those main streets where all the tourists are, I don't think you have anything to worry about. They're aggressive in their sales tactics, but I don't lose sight of that's their livelihood.
Yeah.
They definitely, they absolutely need the business from the cruise, customers, and that's what they're there to do, right? Whether they're offering taxi rides, tours, goods on the street. I would say if anyone walks up to you with anything saying, welcome to the Bahamas, here's some bracelets or, little purses, things like that, do know it is definitely not for free. They want you to put that in your hand, and they will absolutely follow it up very quickly with, that costs such and such dollars. So, if you're not into that kind of, sales tactics, I would say just be cautious.
Yeah.
For sure. We walked through the straw market, and there's tons to look at and a lot of variety. But you definitely you have to know which places will kind of barter with you and which ones will not. Anything in a storefront. So if you're walking into a store, if you're going into an establishment, know that the prices are fixed. It's a store. And in the straw market, you take your chance and you ask them. Some people won't bargain with them at all. They'll just give whatever money the people are asking for. I'll talk to them a little bit, and I don't try to undercut them very much. But if they want $5 for something, I'll just very kindly ask them, "Would you take 4?" I don't go and do anything really crazy, but a lot of the times, if you're very polite to them and you ask them, they'll say, "Sure." I need the sale. So.
And we had a mix of reactions today, responses.
We definitely did. We had people that would not, that said to us, "No, unfortunately,
thanks,
I can't." And then it's kind of up to you whether or not you're going to give what they wanted or try to go somewhere else.
Exactly.
So,
It surprised me in the straw market that the amount of things being sold, the inventory, it's in the main building room, there's probably... probably an understatement, underestimate, 20 different rows, and it's, probably like 10, 12 feet tall of everything, oftentimes you see t-shirts, necklaces, shot glasses, handmade toys, scarves.
Everything.
I mean, just a lot of things. And I think that was kind of one of the key differences between the normal stores. Is a lot of the normal stores have, obviously manufactured goods. By, if we're not talking about like a restaurant, like Starbucks, which we did, we were a patron of Starbucks today. But the other stores, right, where you might buy, prepackaged bottles of hot sauce or hats and T-shirts and that sort of thing. The straw market was a lot more, not entirely, but the straw market it felt a lot more. There were a lot more handmade crafts.
Oh, absolutely.
There, I would say.
Absolutely. I think it's a combination of a lot of things there. Definitely anything, touristy that you're looking for. The typical souvenirs, you're definitely going to find it there. But there's a lot of competition. I mean, it's just booth after booth after booth.
Yeah.
So they're all really trying hard to, get you to come to them. And we kept giggling because I think we heard, slow down a little bit, take your time, look at our stuff, right? A lot. But like I said, I think it's to be expected. And overall, they're super friendly and polite about it. They're just, they're aggressive. They're trying to get your attention and trying to get the sale. So it comes with being on the islands.
I agree.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, they're definitely politely aggressive. Right. They want your business. They want to talk to you for a minute. They want to sell you something or some things.
And that goes beyond the straw market too, because just even in the streets, you have tons of people that are coming up to you, asking you taxi rides, take a tour with us, see the island. Do you need this? Do you need purses? And, if you're interested and you want to stop and talk to those guys, feel free. They're friendly. But know that anything beyond the port, anything beyond the secured port fencing, I would say, is not promoted or part of the port of Nassau. It's the people, like, regular people out on the streets trying to absolutely get you to partake in the activities. If you don't want to, you just kindly say no thank you and you keep moving, and that's it. They just say have a good day. So
I mean, I think after about the 8th or 9th person that is wanting, asking you to take a tour, you start asking yourself, geez, this must be like the tour capital of the world, because they got a whole lot of tours.
Yeah, they do.
They're wanting to take on. We were not interested in doing a tour today, and we had other business and other fun that we wanted to get to. I will say, last thing about the straw market, I do feel a little extra for those people, because look, it was hot outside. It was brutal at times and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You go into the straw market where some people, look, you're in. Okay, I shouldn't say indoors. It's a covered area, but they have the sides of the building open for a bit of airflow. But even with that, even with some fans, it is very stuffy and stifling, and the conditions that they're working in. I feel for those people in the sense that I hope they all had successful days. Hope they met their targets. We definitely were, patrons to a couple people there. We bought some stuff.
We did.
To bring home to friends and family, and excited about the really cool stuff that we bought today, both at the straw market and some other stores along Main Street.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely hot. I think we're probably feeling it more so than the locals. I'm sure that they're used to it. We've heard a few say that it's even been hotter in the last couple of days. So we lucked out a little bit, but it was still intense. We spent a couple hours off the boat, and once we got too hot, we definitely, once we got the items that we were looking for and made our way through the streets, the main streets, we absolutely came back to the ship. That's for sure. Yeah.
And there were, we mentioned Starbucks. I mean, there definitely are a mix of businesses that you're going to be familiar with, and other established businesses that you've seen other places. So like I said, Starbucks. We saw Scotiabank, for example. There's a couple other international banks that you'll walk by and see, and so. And of course, then there's a lot of storefronts, brick and mortar stores that you've never heard of, but they're well established.
Mom and pops places.
Mom and pops, a lot of jewelry stores as well. Diamonds International, for example, is a big one. I think I saw multiple storefronts there. But all in all, it was I thought we were out there maybe 3 hours, give or take. We did some shopping. We saw the locals. We had a good time. And then we made our way to the boat, back to the boat, got some great shots of all three. Well, technically there were four. Yeah, you're right. There were 4 boats, but the Royal Caribbean ships, of course. We probably got the most shots of them. Disney was neat to see, since that was their new boat that they had. They've had their
Disney
fleet.
Wish was in.
Yep. And then we got back on the boat, and it was time to eat lunch.
It was. So we actually were sitting on a little balcony, a little hidden gem in the middle of Central Park right now, on the Allure at night. But
Deck
we were
9.
here. Well, we're on Deck 9, but Central Park is actually on Deck 8.
Right, yes.
But we had lunch at Park Cafe. So Park Cafe, it's known for really fresh salads made to order, so absolutely customized to what you want it to be. They have soups there, and also their famous roast beef sandwiches that people love on their little rye buns, and I would say it didn't disappoint. It was good. It was a different option. It is one of the complimentary options. You don't pay for anything in there unless you have someone make you a barista coffee beverage, but all the food in there, right down to, they offer you bags of chips as snacks, desserts, everything in there is yours for the taking for nothing. So just another little neat place to try for lunch.
I thought outside of main dining, or the dining room, I thought they had the best desserts. of a place that was already part of the standard all-encompass package, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We had a mix of things. We had like 3 or 4 different items between the both of us.
We did.
Very good.
So fun fact, I think they actually have the same desserts as Cafe Promenade on the Royal Promenade, because earlier today when we went down there and I ended up getting coffee, I noticed kind of all the same selections. So they must actually share the same desserts. So it's just a good to know option that if you can't get what you're looking for at the one, you can absolutely just go steps away and get it at the other. But yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
And then we had a parade. Middle to late afternoon.
Yeah.
That was on the Promenade.
Mm-hmm.
We got there early. We got good seats. Kind of center, right in front of Sorrento's, actually, which is kind of in the center. You felt like, we were doing our best job of, our impression of the Macy's Day Parade, just no commentary. And so we got some good footage that we'll post that in time. But it was a parade that involved a lot of the crew members, and that includes, the actors and athletes that are participating in, the skating show, the quiz shows, and a lot of the other productions here on the ship.
Yeah.
Kind of answer one of my questions, which is, some of these shows which are only taking place 1 or 2 times, what are those people doing the rest of the time? Well, one part of that answer is that they're participating in pretty fun parades, pretty lively parades.
They definitely have them doing different things on the ship, I think, kind of at all times. The parade was cute. It was called Anchors Away. The parade only happens once a sailing if you're on a ship that does have a parade, so you definitely have to get there early. I would say a couple minutes before. It was very busy, and you have to be able to fit along the sides somewhere. There's a lot of action in this parade. They're moving around a lot, and most of the floor is theirs during their performances. That's for sure. But
they pushed it back a couple times.
Yeah.
Right. We thought we were in a good spot. Then they came by and said, "Hey, I need you to come back." And they came back later. A few minutes later, we need we need more space. So we did that. And great views, and I'm actually really excited about posting that video. I think the where we were sitting and the shots that we got, it really is going to make for a really fun, cool video. I think all of you guys are going to really enjoy.
Yeah.
So we got through there, and then we pretty much got to dinner. Night 3 of dinner.
A little bit of downtime to just kind of walk around and enjoy the ship. But aside from that, it was Caribbean night. So we're in our floral patterns, and we had fun with it. It was really nice. It was nice to see our wait staff a little bit more in relaxed attire too, because they dressed the part as well, and they all had beautiful, nice, bright, colorful Caribbean shirts on, and I would say Caribbean was definitely the main theme of that menu tonight. Most certainly. So I'll start off with appetizers. So we actually both had gotten Asian style, like pork belly bao tacos, and then I decided to try the crispy coconut shrimp. Not a big shrimp person normally, but I thought, hey, I'm gonna try it. We're on a ship, and it's there for the offering. And honestly, it was a recommendation from our server, and it didn't disappoint. It was just absolutely delicious. I loved every bite of it. And what did you think about the bao tacos?
Okay, the bao tacos were. I like tacos, but I gotta say these are like really pleasantly surprising. Like it. Okay, I've never had a bao roll before. Let's put that out there. So I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So when you get handed, they give you the plate, and they give you 2 of these tacos, made in the bao rolls. They had some pork, they had some onions, they had I think I had a few peppers in there, like a red bell pepper maybe.
Like a little bit of like a sauce, a drizzle in there.
And I gotta tell you that when you bit into that thing, I mean, it was so, I don't know how to explain it, so light and fluffy. Like, it's almost like it wasn't there. It was a strange, but it was delicious. It was like taco cotton candy.
It was, I don't know if I'd exactly explain it that way, but for anyone who's had a bao bun before, it was a really like fun twist, I think, on like Asian meets like Caribbean / like Mexican somehow. But instead of it being like a closed bao bun that's normally like stuffed, this was just this same kind of dough, but open exactly like a taco, and it was fun and it was good. Yeah.
Taco cotton candy. So let's move on to entree.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the entree, I started off with, I was torn, but my primary entree was the New York strip.
Yeah.
And I was in the mood. I mean, I know I'd had prime rib early in the week, but I wanted something I wanted a little bit more tried and true steak, so to speak. And so I had my hopes up for that. It came with garlic butter, mashed potatoes, a little bit of steamed broccoli, not mashed potatoes, a baked potato, excuse me, steamed broccoli and carrots. Overall, it was good. I thought the steak itself, it was a good flavor, but it didn't have an abundance of flavor. I mean, I felt like if they marinated it, they didn't, or maybe they didn't marinate it. I don't know. It was good. I wasn't upset, but I felt like it was lacking overall. Everything else on the plate was, I think, what you would expect. So I mean, it was okay. But we shared an entree as well.
We did. So we shared a jerk pork chop that came with the traditional like rice and beans, sweet plantains, and a Jamaican dumpling on the side. That I would say, to me, it was very good. It was very delicious. A little bit on the spicy side. So if you're on a cruise that gives you that as an offering, do know there is a bit of a heat kick to it. But honestly, to me, it was very flavorful. It was like a nice juicy pork chop. It wasn't dry at all. And it had a lot of flavor.
The meat by itself was flavorful.
Yeah.
It was when you kind of drug it through the sauce. The sauce is what put it over the top.
Yeah.
In terms of being really
sauce
spicy.
Was where the heat was at. That's for sure.
Yes.
We didn't eat much more on that plate just because our own entrees were both so big. But we couldn't resist trying the pork chop. Our they were saying how good it was, and we thought, well, we'll give it a try. My entree was another one of the offerings for the theme tonight, and it was Caribbean style chicken. So lots of flavor. It was a really, really good dish. I'm not a big fan of a lot of rice or beans, so our server was nice enough to let me substitute that off the plate and provide me with a baked potato instead. And this entree was really great. The portion size was massive, though. It ended up being very close to like a half chicken, which I absolutely I wasn't able to eat all of it. But it was really good, very well seasoned, very well cooked. So I was happy.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
You gave me a piece to try, and I was impressed. I was kind of thinking I could have made a better decision. I didn't. That was the one I was like, kind of thinking I was going to do, but I went New York strip, and you're the winner. So, and then dessert. Oh boy, dessert was interesting. Yeah. Dessert was a mix. So coming off of an amazing apple cobbler last night. That was hot, it was fresh, it was delicious, the vanilla ice cream was all of it together, amazing, seriously. Well, tonight they offered a blueberry cobbler. So we thought, high hopes, sounds great, sounds delicious. So we both at least ordered the blueberry cobbler.
Yeah.
And wow, but not so wow. Like,
yeah.
Okay, first off, it had so much, I don't know, breadcrumb. I mean, they weren't breadcrumbs.
No, they weren't. It wasn't. It was. It was like an oat crumble on top. It was very different from the streusel topping that was on the warm apple cobbler. So whatever we say about the blueberry cobbler, don't let it hinder you from getting the apple cobbler, because it was entirely vastly different. And it's funny, even our server kind of made a cute little remark when we were about to order dessert, saying like, everything's good but the cobbler. So he's not a fan either. It was just weird. To me, like the blueberries were too runny. It was almost like a warmed up blueberry jam, and the topping was so full of oats that it was a little too grainy for my liking. So it was an absolute miss in my books. We did have secondary desserts chosen. I had a rough night with desserts, and honestly, I would say the second option that I chose was the carrot cake. And it's of no fault to Royal, because this carrot cake really did look absolutely delicious, and it was made with real cream cheese frosting and everything else. But I am absolutely no fan of raisins. I refuse to eat them, cannot do it at all. This thing was jam-packed full of raisins. So as soon as our server came by again, I just explained to him, I was like, I can't touch this one either. And the blueberry cobbler, we should have listened to you. And so I had a change of plans, and I just finished my meal. They offer like a cheese and fruit little kind of charcuterie plate. Yeah. And it was decent. It's a little bit of a funny way to finish your meal, but it was okay. It had crackers and walnuts and grapes and like a fig chutney and a couple of different types of cheese, and it was okay. Not my favorite night for dessert, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
How about your other dessert?
Well, I'd say, Royal needed a win. Like they needed a comeback victory on this one. So I ordered, I think it was just called chocolate cake. I'm sure it had
a brownie, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, right.
Had a brownie.
So, yes, thank you. It was the brownie, and the brown. So it had two pieces, right? It had the main brownie, the soft portion of the brownie was probably baked in the oven, and then on top of that they put actual what do I call it, a dollop of rich dark chocolate, and between the two, it was delicious.
Good.
Really, really good. I mean, if you needed to, like I said, the brownie, the actual brownie itself, not too rich. I mean, it was sweet. It was good. It was solid. But the chocolate they put on top of it, I don't want to call it frosting, because again, it was like a dollop, like a glob. I think I got stuck on there, probably about the size of a Hershey Kiss, but not a Hershey Kiss. That really. That was awesome. In fact, it was so good and so rich. I only ate about half the brownie, and that was a function of it was just so rich. Plus, we had already eaten so much at that point that I was, I had to tap out. I was done at that point, and I'd say from a dessert perspective, Royal got the comeback victory.
For you, anyway.
For me, exactly.
Not so much me today.
Your comeback victory is going to need to happen on day 4. So
yeah, I think so.
All of you stay tuned, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
And then we finished up dinner.
We did.
And we went over to the Aqua Theater.
We actually did not.
No, we didn't.
No.
Just kidding.
No, we actually went back down to the Royal Promenade, because tonight they had a Caribbean party on the main floor. So just a really fun Caribbean party. Activity directors had everybody dancing and doing different line dances to a lot of Caribbean music, and it was just fun. It was a really good vibe. Everyone was having a good time, and it was just a really nice, cool, fun way to finish off Caribbean night.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was super cool. Before we went to the Aqua Theater, though, Jason, you found something.
Did. So, for those of you who are unaware, oftentimes when content creators come onto the boat, they will hide a little trinket, a little treasure, if you will.
Yeah.
Think of it like an Easter egg, but it's not an Easter egg. That ideally that you'll find this trinket, and it'll be it's the thrill of the find, but B, it identifies the person who placed it. What is the content that they're producing? Who are they? They're a YouTuber for what channel? Where are they on TikTok and Instagram and so on and so forth. And so
families hide them too, and I think we might have found a family one because this one doesn't have any info on it.
Okay,
so I think this was maybe just people having fun tonight. But super cool idea.
Yeah, because we didn't find any content identifying information, but we found
a rubber ducky.
A rubber ducky. There you go. So this is super cool.
Yep.
This is our first rubber duck find together.
Yep.
We just got off the we were about to get on the elevator, I believe.
We did, and it was
it's
hiding around the elevator.
Just on the number, I forget what number it was, which is right there in full view on the wall between two elevators. Somebody had placed that within one of the angles. I think it might have been within a number 4 on the wall or something like that. So that was
very
fun.
Cool. Honestly, it sounds so silly, but cruising rubber duckies, it's a real thing right now, and everyone wants to do it. So sometimes they're full size. This guy's just a little mini dude, and we'll take him home. He's our first find. So,
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And it might just be, it might have just been meant there for Jason because it's a little red ducky, and red is one of his favorite colors.
It
so.
is.
It was.
Absolutely.
You were meant to find it.
I was.
And then we ended the night. Actually, we didn't end up. This was a busy night. Around 10:15, we had our Oceanaria Aqua Theater show, and that's just a really cool show.
It is. We, as you are going to see on one of the other videos that we put together, where we walk through the boardwalk, we showed you during the day the stadium. We'll call it a stadium, the seating area for the Aqua Theater. Well, we went to the production tonight, like Lena said, Oceanaria, and I got to tell you what, the lights, the water, the acrobatics, the diving, and the diving stands out. I mean, it's one thing to see, again, a lot of lights in the water, and then you start seeing people dive. I'm going to guess at this point, they're diving, 20 feet. Okay.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you see people who are then diving considerably higher, maybe probably like 50 or 60 feet or so. And then 3 times, I think, if I recall correctly, you had somebody go to the very top of the structure, which I think we've heard is like 115 feet or something to that effect. It's some ridiculously high height.
Yeah.
And they jumped all the way off that into the pool below.
Very cool.
You hold your breath for a second the first time that happens. But yeah, that was a cool, fun production. That finished up and we had to get to what really was our last event for the day.
Yes. So Royal Caribbean does a very fun game on all of their sailings called the Crazy Quest Show. It is absolutely an adult show. They will not allow any kids into this show for rightful reasons. And I know on all of these reviews, I keep saying I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I really don't want to spoil it for anyone. No. It is crazy. It is fun. You laugh a lot. And it is all dependent on audience participation. Yeah. When you go and they say you're going to participate in a game, you are absolutely going to participate in a game. We did our part tonight.
We did.
We won't tell you much aside from the fact that shoelaces were given and belts were given and shoes came off of feet.
We contributed.
And yeah, we contributed. And our team, our part of the audience, we won bronze. We won third place. So
third out of 6 teams. So
third out of 6. So it ain't bad. We'll take it.
We'll take it.
Yeah, it's just a really fun time. Yeah. But because it is only once per sailing, it gets busy in there. It gets very busy, and so we had just enough time tonight to leave the water show and go straight into Crazy Quest.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Indeed.
It was a good day.
Then after that, we went to Bolero's downstairs. I know we showed that in a prior video, and we had a drink to kind of close out the night before we want to come up here and say again hello and good evening at the same time to everybody. Again, we're hoping all of you are having a great day.
Yeah.
And I think that does it for tonight.
I think so. Tomorrow is our last day on the cruise.
Yeah.
It's coming to a close very quickly.
Yeah.
But we're having a blast, so time flies. It is an at-sea day. Mm-hmm. So we have no ports, nowhere to be. We just need to get up and enjoy the ship.
Yep.
So I'm sure we'll take our time doing breakfast, and then we'll explore the ship a little more. Mm-hmm. Try and take a little bit more video so that we can show you guys more of the decks or the fun areas of the ship.
Yeah.
And just enjoy the pools and enjoy our last relaxing day sailing.
We will. Absolutely will. And we'll tell you all about it tomorrow night on our last night update on this cruise.
Yep.
But confident it will not be our last cruise together.
No.
For sure. We've got many of these to go. So thanks for being with us tonight. Hope you guys are again having a good time and enjoying all these updates from us.
Yeah.
Make sure you like, share, and subscribe with all your friends and your family. And absolutely. We will walk with you later.
We'll walk with you later.
Bye for now.
Bye, guys.